Hey film fans, you're watching Craig's Film Reviews. I'm Craig, and this week I'm joined by Bruce.
Hi guys. Hi Craig.
That's all right, Bruce. You alright? Okay?
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about what could possibly be the greatest movie ever made. King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword.
King Arthur. Table. You sit at it.
Right, so this film came out last year, and it was a flop. It didn't do very well at all. It's a lot of high hopes from the studio, big budget franchise starter, hopefully, but critics were savaged it, and it didn't do very well at the box office at all. So when the film came out, honestly, it kind of completely passed me by. Really, I wasn't interested in seeing it at all. But Bruce, you were the one that kind of said maybe I needed to give it a second look because you said it was the greatest movie ever made.
What is better than the Guy Ritchie's King Arthur?
How they should have just called it.
That should have been the name of the film.
And then it summed it up perfectly. So tell me about your experience of watching the film for the first time.
Guys, it was beautiful. Do you not think so? Do you not just think everything about it was amazing? I sat there in the opening sequence and I was like, so I saw the trailer and I was like, oh Jesus, it's going to be another one of them. And then the opening sequence, I was like, what on earth is going on? It's just going to be a big CGI fest. And then all of a sudden, the wife dies, and then the music kicks in. It's like, da, 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 da. And you suddenly end up with this montage. And you're like, what on earth is going on? And then you get you're exposed to the Guy Ritchie-ness of storytelling, where where they're talking about the Vikings, and like, oh, what happened? He's like, oh,
You writing a book?
That bit. And that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was my very first Guy Ritchie film as well.
Have you not seen another one? So it was your Guy Ritchie virgin and the full Guy Ritchie experience.
I was blown away. Guy Ritchie and King Arthur blew me.
It is why when I first watched it, like I saw because you told me that's your experience and you didn't like the beginning. It was like kind of like a seemed like a low rent Lord of the Rings at first, didn't it?
Yep, that was it.
Watching it, and I didn't like it either, and I could see exactly what you meant. It didn't feel like a Guy Ritchie film at all, and then. Yeah, then suddenly it turned into Snatch in the Middle Ages, and it might have just turned into that opening montage of him growing up in Londinium, or whatever it is. They're growing in Londinium.
Yeah.
And it's a typical example of Guy Ritchie's kind of style, that kind of rapid montage, just little snippets of footage, just kind of show him. And it works perfectly. It's a great way to show the growing up montage, and you see it reveals his character in a lot of ways as well. When you see him when he's a kid and he's living in the brothel, and he sees all the Johns slapping the girls around and stuff. Then you see him start to get stronger and see him training.
It gives him so much identity.
It does.
It's such a minute, a 2 minute clip, a little montage, and you're suddenly like, okay, this guy's King Arthur.
Yeah,
I'm totally sold. It's like we're living in a modern England, but not a modern England.
Yeah, I mean,
with swords and stuff, and they're just the characters' names aren't even Percy. It's supposed to be Sir Percival. Do you know what I mean?
There's Skinny Pete, Fat Nose Mike, what's the Goose Fat Bill?
And then
it's literally
Chinese. What George? Chinese George?
Chinese George or is it Kung Fu George?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Kung Fu George. I mean Kung Fu George. Yeah. And that one called isn't he called the guy that comes to him, the guy who's in Game of Thrones, the one who plays Bruce Bolton, who's the my mum's sewing circle. What do you think? That's right. He goes in certain circles. They're saying he goes, what circles? My mum's sewing circles. I'm a black knight. What do you think circles? So yeah, it's typical of Guy Ritchie's kind of style of dialogue as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of Cockney rhyming slang. Everyone's kind of geezer, aren't they?
And King Arthur himself is a bit of an arsehole.
Yeah.
And he just carries it, I think, so well throughout the whole film.
He's a typical Guy Ritchie kind of. He's got that kind of Cockney swagger thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
But does that? I don't know. We'll
so what do you want me to do? A little bit of razzle dazzle with the sword?
You expect me to do some sort of razzle dazzle with the sword? I feel like a joke's coming on it. Do you know what he says about how do you get money out of a Viking? I feel like a joke's coming on it.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one that? When he's queuing up to see the. We'll get to this bit in a minute because this is one of the best bits in the film. The out of context seems.
Let's just talk about it now.
What, the David Beckham?
Everyone knows what we're talking about.
The David Beckham scene.
The David Beckham scene.
Out of context, when I saw it last year and everyone was talking about the film, they put the clip online of David Beckham, and he's kind of like the gatekeeper for Excalibur, isn't he? When they got to pull the sword out of the stone, that classic kind of scene from King Arthur legend, and he's like a knight, one of the team of knights who's there to be in charge of it. And when you see the clip out of it, David Beckham just seems totally like wooden, and put your hands around it, innit? And it's all like,
Where do you want me? Where do you think I want you? By the sword, stupid. 2 hands.
2 hands, both feet, give it a tug, innit? And you just think, oh my god, what was like...
But once you've seen so much of the film already, it just fits.
It seemed perfectly normal, didn't it?
I didn't have no problem with it at all.
Because everyone speaks like that in a film, so it seems like...
Me. Trigger. I think we got one here.
Bouncing on my knee. Where do you think I want ya? Hands on the hilt, stupid. Best thing, didn't have any teeth. Oi, both hands. I said both hands. Right, 10 digits. Round the blunt bit. Give it a tug. Left foot, right foot, collect your brand, back on the barge.
There's that bit when he's queuing up to go to see the sword, and he's like he said, he's just waiting in line. It's like laying outside for a club or something. He's like, bollocks to this, mate. And then it's like, excuse me, son, excuse me. And it's all like, well, what's your back? And
Someone pushes him. It's like, it's not worth it, Tim.
Ain't worth it. Yeah, so
it feels so English, I think.
Yeah,
Like in like from like my university experiences and things, like just everyone kind of like being horrible and bullying each other and coming up with the worst things to say to each other, and nobody takes offence to it the entire time. Everyone just totally accepts that that's the way we're going to talk to each other and the way we're going to treat each other.
Yeah,
I feel like it's, I just think really, like,
Pick it
for
up.
me, yeah.
he gets his like cloak off or whatever. He's like, pick it up, don't want it to get creased. And he's
Exactly,
like-
yeah. Just like
Yeah.
the way people are horrible to each other.
So it's definitely like a Guy Ritchie film, and he's kind of taken the King Arthur legend, but it's not the King Arthur legends that we know. There's no Lancelot, there's no Guinevere or anything like that. There's no Merlin. There's mentions of Merlin,
Yeah.
but he's meant to be someone from the distant past that passed down Excalibur. There is the Lady of the Lake, isn't there?
Yeah, she rocks up.
She rocks up in a couple of scenes, and there's talk of Mordred and some things like that. No Holy Grail. There's nothing like that in the film, is there? So
No.
it's quite a different.
He's mixed around and playing with the myth and the legend, but I like the idea that the King Arthur is based on a myth, isn't it? So it's a story that's been told and then told again and told again, and there are so many different interpretations. And I feel like we're being told another version of King Arthur. I feel like he sat us down. I feel like one of the characters has sat us down, like we're a part of the group, and he's like, "Look, I'm going to tell you a story, lads."
That might have been a good beginning, wouldn't it?
Maybe
a lot of films
that's
do
what they
that.
should have done.
A lot of films do that quite well with the that they're mythologising the home film themselves, isn't they? Like, yeah, like you get one of the minor characters to be like, "Let me tell you a story."
Some heat on you, Arthur. Your name keeps coming up.
In what circles?
My mum's sewing circle. I'm a blackleg sergeant, stupid. What circles do you think? Now tell me a story about a girl called Lucy, a Viking called Greybeard, and some rebel graffiti dirty in these walls.
Are you writing a book?
Tell me. Every detail.
We had a quiet word with a couple of Vikings.
Get back! I said from the beginning. The very beginning.
I woke up.
Then?
Well, then I got dressed, I went downstairs, I saw the girls. Lucy was missing.
Where's Lucy? She's a good girl. A nice girl.
She works here.
Then?
Then, me and the lads took care of a bit of business. Bit of housekeeping.
Everything as it should be. That's the spoil from the boats.
Then?
Yeah, and I think that's Guy Ritchie's storytelling structure is quite interesting in a lot of ways. He likes that idea of storytelling, and it is almost like you said, it's like guys in a pub telling a story.
Yeah.
About what happened at a football match or something.
Exactly.
That's
and
what it feels like.
That's why when they totally over-exaggerate and then they rewind it and the footage rewinds them doing it when they're telling the stories and things. And I'd never seen anything quite done like that before. So for me, it was...
If you're familiar with Guy Ritchie, like you've seen other films since then, haven't you?
Yeah.
If you're familiar, that is his style.
Yeah, so now you can just see it constantly in
And-
like, Lock, Smoke, Two Smoking Barrels. And
The Snatch and all that, like, it's all the same. Man from U.N.C.L.E. does similar things.
Man from U.N.C.L.E., yeah.
See, with his films, I kind of feel like it's a really interesting way to do it. You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to do something new, isn't he? He's trying to do find a new way around a story. But sometimes I feel like he does it too often. There's almost every scene is like undercut by the like the voiceover, or you hear people describing things that happen, but you don't actually get to see. It's like the trial bit when it goes, what's it called, like the underworld or something like that.
The Dark Clouds.
And then that joke where Jimon Hansel's like, he's not going to the Darklands, and then it's like, welcome to the Darklands. and then you see his trials, but they only show you like clips of his trials, don't they?
Yeah.
But in most movies, that would be like the trial scene where he goes and he has to fight the bats or whatever, and goes into the caves and everything.
But I liked because it didn't feel like, if they suddenly showed all that, it would have felt like the opening sequence that was totally out of place.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
It would have taken.
So I think that it would have changed the tone again. I feel like just having the music, and the music, by the way, is well good.
Oh yeah, Daniel Pemberton did that.
If no one liked the music, you'll need to watch it again.
Because I was surprised by the music because it's not the usual like Hans Zimmer like.
That's what,
all the way through, is it? There's some moments like that.
Because that's how, once again, the opening sequence makes it feel that way, and then all of a sudden it just changes.
Yeah, so what else was good about the film? Because I do like when we talk about Guy Ritchie's structure and storytelling, I don't think he can be quite serious as well sometimes. I think even in like Snatch and some of the other films, I think you're supposed to care about the characters, and you are supposed to think that these are like real human beings. I think, isn't it? Like there's a scene in this one where his friend, I can't remember his name, but he gets the guy who played, it was in Kill List. I don't know if you've seen that film, but it was his son. He's got a little boy, Blue, and he gets killed, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it's quite a gruesome and quite unpleasant, upsetting scene and stuff. And it shows him that it kind of changes King Arthur's character, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And motivates him to come on. So I think we're supposed to care about him and follow the story, and follow him through the story, aren't we?
Yeah, once again, the music backs it all up really well, and we get the different stages of character development where he gives up and then tries again, and gives up and
it's still got the hero journey in it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You're not just. You have the rise and the fall, and the rise and the fall, and eventually it all comes together, which is brilliant. Other brilliant characters, Craig. You loved Littlefinger.
Yeah, but he's not Littlefinger. Aidan Gillen, he's
He's
famous
the
now
embodiment
of untrustworthiness and sliminess, isn't he? He's got that thing down. That's his niche, isn't he? Like if you see him in The Wire when he plays the mayor, he's kind of okay in that one, but he's still pretty slippery.
Yeah.
And a bit dodgy. And then he plays a dodgy CIA agent in Dark Knight Rises, and then obviously most famously he's Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. And now he plays a character. And the thing is, because it's like a medieval kind of thing, you see him dressed up in similar kind of clothes. I just thought right from the beginning, like baddie. You see him and you think like baddie, didn't you?
Same,
That's exactly it. You're like, okay, he's the bad guy. And there's a few moments when he's a bit like with the arrow scene, isn't it? Or he doesn't follow the orders and he ends up getting them all killed.
I'm going to kill him anyway.
Yeah. And it's, yeah. And I think that sometimes that's an interesting thing, isn't it? Like we talked before, that you can play with, when certain actors have played characters for a very long time, or are so tied up with certain characters' personas, you can sometimes play with it. It can be a good thing, a bad thing, because sometimes they're trying to play a heroic character, but they're famous for playing villains. It can be hard to shape that idea.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you can use that to your advantage as a filmmaker and make people untrustworthy of certain characters,
Which is exactly
when they shouldn't be untrustworthy,
yeah.
and it's a surprise. Or the opposite is when you cast a really nice actor.
Yeah.
In Brazil, Terry Gilliam's film, he cast Michael Palin as the bad guy, who turns out to be the bad guy because he says he's the nicest man I know, and no one would think that he'd be the bad guy. And that's how you can play with it, can't you? And so yeah, he's quite an interesting character. Even at the end when he was getting knighted, I didn't understand. There's a bit where he's going to knight him, and he's like, "Why, Sir William?" And he looks at him. Maybe it's just because Aidan Gillen can't play anything other than sinister. But he looked at him like,
I thought he was going to stab him as well. I thought he hasn't got all the way to the end.
Maybe he was going for like friendship, but it came across to say Jude Law's awesome. Jude Law's really good, isn't he?
Very good.
Yeah. Did you like Jude Law? Jude Law as an actor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. A lot of people. He kind of, when I was young, when I was about your age, Bruce, actually, he was like the biggest thing ever. He was in there was at least 4 or 5 movies a year that he was coming out in, and people I think got a bit sick of him, and he kind of lost favour a little bit, and he got considered as a bad actor. When I've always thought he was one of Britain's greatest actors. And this one, he plays King Arthur's uncle, isn't he? and they do give him a bit of he's got a bit of a tragic storyline as well, isn't
Very
he?
tragic. I feel a bit of empathy for him. A bit sad.
And I think he's just you can see his acting quality, especially some of the scenes where he's having those conversations with Charlie Hunnam, like in the dungeons and stuff, and he's explaining his motivations. I think Jude Law, he's a real deal. I think Jude Law, and I think it's a bit unfair that he's not been back at the top again. Maybe with that new Fantastic Beasts 2 that he's the star of, as young Dumbledore might get back up there.
Might bring him back in.
Might bring him back up there.
But then the fight with King Arthur at the end against him.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It reminded me of when he's killing all the soldiers. It's just really classic video game.
It does look like a video game.
And like suddenly he's got the sword and he's got the power and he's just swinging it and it's like blowing people everywhere.
And it's very over the top.
Really over. But
I've never seen a film shot that way.
I love the spinning when they're fighting and the camera is just going round and round and round and you feel like you're going in with it. I'm swinging my hands. I'm like, God!
Yeah. It's classic Guy Ritchie style. He's got a real energy and verve as a filmmaker, hasn't he? And it really does it gives something new to it. It's not what not what we're expecting from a kind of a medieval type or mythical story. So what about Charlie Hunnam?
Brilliant.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I first saw him in Pacific Rim. Brilliant.
I love Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
I don't
and
know.
Then suddenly he came to King Arthur and I was like, well, whatever. But now I think I'm in love.
I'm less enamoured with him. I don't know I can't make my mind up whether he's good or bad.
Yeah, but he was great in that. Greatest actor ever.
Greatest actor ever.
Ever. After King
A lot of
Arthur.
people like him. And they obviously want him to be a star. He keeps getting these big roles. He was actually cast as Christian Grey in 50 Shades of Grey, but was pulled out at the last minute.
We don't care about
Excuse
50
the pun,
Shades of Grey.
but he pulled out. But, if you pardon the pun. But, he didn't want it. He realised that he wasn't. Sons of Anarchy, he'd done that for a long time, and I got this feeling again. He's never really quite shaken that role. He seems to just play the same character, this kind of swaggering thug.
Yeah, but I felt like he took it to an extra level.
Yeah,
this time
it does. Fit.
I felt there were so many caring moments. There's so many emotive moments where he's like he wants them all to leave when they're all getting attacked by the Black Knights, the Black Soldiers, in the sword pit.
Yeah,
and it's like everyone escape. He's like, sorry, I'm scared of the dark. Don't like rats. And he's like, just guys, please just go. And then he realises he has to. He's got to stand up and be the hero. Yeah. And I think there's some brilliant character development in it. I honestly do believe it deserves more recognition than it gets.
I don't think you're wrong. I think Charlie Hunnam's good. Maybe he hasn't got a lot of range, but he's got that kind of blunt force charisma, hasn't he? That blunt force screen presence, I think.
It's the swag,
in certain roles.
I think, that goes with it.
In certain roles.
So let's talk about the best bit. The table at the end.
Is that the best bit?
That's the best bit of the film.
It?
Well, one of the best bits. It's like, what's that? It's a table.
You sit at it. To wheel it in, isn't it?
We've been wondering what you were doing in here. I like it. What is it?
Yes, what is it? A carousel? A giant wheel of cheese? What are you supposed to do with it?
I know. It's a dance floor. And once you finish it, how are you supposed to get to the middle?
Well, how did you get it through the door? Did you carry it in or did you...
Again, but then the thing is that...
How many conversations, guys, would you have with people? Do you know what I mean? Like you have your friends or family and they bring that kind of thing into your house, like a table. But like, what's that? And a really dumb question, like, it's a table. You sit at it. Do you know what I mean? How relatable are some of the conversations in it?
Yeah, I understand. I get that, but does it also not take away a little bit some of the mythical elements, like the iconic elements of the storyline? It's kind of like, it's a table, isn't it? Whereas like the round table is meant to be all about altruism and that there's no one at the head and they're all together, but it's just like, yeah, it's a round table, isn't it, bruv? You know what I mean? Like,
that's perfect, though.
They're just almost like, is it almost him mocking the King Arthur legend sometimes? And
I think he's mocking who he is and what he's about.
So what does he replace it with, though? If he doesn't think that's correct, I mean, if he doesn't think that's good.
He's going to have the table, isn't he?
Okay. Because one of the flaws of the film. So flaws of the film. Is there anything you don't think works?
No, it's brilliant, beautiful.
What about the mage stuff?
No, okay, that bit.
Yeah. And the bit with the snake that doesn't make a lot of sense. Why does he give him back the sword?
Yeah.
And then give him the sword back, and it says if you come.
Wait, why would he give it? He'd rather give.
He gives the mage. He captures the mage and gives it back to him, or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, he
and
does.
Then he gets the sword, tells him to come back.
Yeah.
And then
they
he
trade the
turns
mage
into
with the sword, but they could just
and he has
trade
to
the
have the
kid.
snake bite him, doesn't he? And then he
Yeah.
doesn't give him much more powers apart from the fact the snake doesn't want to eat him. Isn't that the point? The snake doesn't eat him because he's got the. So there's a lot of kind of confusing, weird bits in it like that. I think that kind of counts against it.
Yeah.
And
I don't feel like they maybe knew how to get to the end
maybe
in that bit.
you got to, yeah. Sometimes you got to check.
Instead of just doing like a giant siege, which they kind of did anyway.
Mm.
But then, how would you do daring rescue mission?
It's true. It's true. You have to have something.
You have to have a way of getting them there. Maybe they could have. It just adds another bit of the mythological bit, I suppose.
Maybe because he has that bit where he chucks the sword away and has to go. That's quite a nice. Neat
I love
sequence
that bit
where
because he's given up.
Yeah.
He's purely given up, and it's like you can't.
And he gets dragged into it, but dragged into that puddle.
Into the mud.
Yeah, but then that's the guy.
But you get the lion's roar as well when he
Yeah.
gets really angry. It's replacing his voice. Yeah. So,
And
we're going to replace my voice there.
well, with the lion bit, we'll see.
So, Craigie.
Yep.
Boys and girls, is King Arthur: Legend of the Sword the greatest film ever made?
No. I don't know what you can say. Like,
Okay, greatest film.
If I'm going to give my thoughts on the film,
Go on.
I think it's a flawed film. There's no doubt about that. I don't think it's a perfect. There's a lot of stuff in there that doesn't work. I think sometimes the storytelling's a bit, like we said, there's bits that don't quite make sense that are in there for no reason. I think they did definitely attempt to do a cinematic universe with King Arthur. Apparently that was the theory. That's why there's kind of allusions to Merlin and some of the other characters, but they never really get round to showing them because I think they were going to save that for a different film.
Right.
And I think that counts against it. Doesn't quite feel as a complete movie, but it's some good performances, some not so good performances maybe in there somewhere, but I'm not sure about the woman who plays the mage. I didn't think she was particularly good. And but it was a lot better than I expected. If you're going and expecting it's going to be just a run-of-the-mill Lord of the Rings film, it ain't that. But it's more fun. It's a lot more fun, I think, isn't it? More fun than The Hobbit, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
Yeah. And there's some good action in. If you love Guy Ritchie films, yeah, you'll love this, wouldn't you? Love this kind of style. So I would say it's not the greatest movie ever made, but it's still a pretty good one, and I'd recommend giving it a go. Would you got anything to add to that, Bruce?
Well, there we go. We can't argue with pretty good. Give it a go.
Exactly. Pretty good. Give it a go. Right. So that's the first time we've done a video cast, isn't it?
Yep. And we picked the greatest film to do it. You're welcome.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you like this and want to see more kind of videos like this, hit like. If you want to see more of our ones, hit to subscribe as well. If you've got any other ones that you think might be the greatest movie ever made and want me and Bruce to discuss it, put it down in the comments below. If you watch King Arthur and have any other opinions of your own, stick them in there. And yeah.
Give us your favourite quote from the film.
Yeah, I've got. What's your one?
Oh, I don't know. There are so many good ones. I
Razzle
love
dazzle
I
was the
love
one
the
you
razzle.
told me
I love the
first.
razzle dazzle with the sword.
What's
think
my
that one's
one?
brilliant.
I do like the mum sewing circle is quite a good one.
Yeah.
What are the other ones? Yeah, I think it's going to be one of them. Or
It's definitely-
you write a book.
Yeah.
That's quite a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Hey film fans, you're watching Craig's Film Reviews. I'm Craig.
I'm
This
Bruce.
week- I was gonna do
no!
it.
Okay, let's start again.
Should we start again?
Yeah, clapping.
Hey film fans, you're watching Craig's Film Reviews. I'm Craig, and this week...
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I did it again.
You know my work
So
done.
is King Arthur the greatest film ever made, Craig?
No.
Why is that? Tell me why.
Because no film is supposed...
Tell me why. Is that?
What's
that?
that?
New? That lad.
What?
Tell me why.
Well, I like that.
Tell me why that's the greatest.
Because well, yeah. I mean, if he was, yeah. Oh no, we shouldn't have worn both grey, should we? We look like we kind of like that grey shirt that you're wearing, kind of like.
Do you not like
like
it?
this.
Do you not
Is that
like?
good?
Do you not like the lines?
Oh yeah, no, that bit's quite good. I like that line there.
I like. I like the short sleeves.
That one. Oh, this part, this
Yeah.
bit here, you mean?
That makes it.
This bit is like there.